Listen to me. Before you can conquer anything in this life, before you can build a business, lead a family, or rise above your circumstances, you've got to conquer your mind. Because your mind is your greatest weapon. But if you don't learn how to control it, it will become your greatest enemy. Every battle you fight starts right here, not out there. It's not your environment. It's not your circumstances. It's not your background. It's your mindset. The way you think will either elevate you or eliminate you. Too many people wake up every day and let their thoughts run wild. They let fear dictate their moves. They let doubt whisper lies, and they let failure talk them out of trying again. You can't live like that and expect to win. You can't walk into the battlefield of life without mastering the weapon that decides whether you survive or not. Your mind will always believe everything you tell it. That's why you have to feed it strength, not weakness. You have to speak faith, not fear. You have to see yourself as capable, even when you don't feel like it. I need you to understand something. The mind doesn't care about your goals unless you train it to. It doesn't care about your dreams unless you command it. That's why people start things strong and quit halfway. That's why they promise themselves they'll change, and then a week later they're back in the same cycle. Because their mind isn't trained for war. Their thoughts aren't conditioned to push through pain. They let the mind control them instead of controlling the mind. When you wake up in the morning, your thoughts start speaking before you even get out of bed. It's too early.
I'm tired. Maybe tomorrow.
That's your mind trying to keep you comfortable, trying to protect you from effort, trying to convince you that staying the same is safer than growing. But growth and comfort can't live in the same place. If you want to grow, you have to train your mind to stop negotiating with weakness. You have to learn to tell yourself, we're doing this whether we feel like it or not. Because the moment you let feelings make decisions for you, your discipline dies. See, the real fight isn't against failure. It's against the thoughts that tell you to quit after failing. The real battle isn't the long hours, the rejections, the setbacks. It's the voice in your head saying, this isn't working. If you don't learn how to silence that voice, it'll sabotage everything you try to build. You've got to rewire your mind to believe that every challenge is an opportunity, every delay is a setup, and every hardship is training. You have to condition yourself to see progress, even when the results aren't visible yet. Winners aren't made from perfect conditions. They're made from powerful mindsets. They've learned how to turn pressure into power, fear into focus, and pain into purpose. They understand that the body follows where the mind leads. When your mind says, I can, your actions align. But when your mind says, I can't, it's already over before it starts. That's why mastering your thoughts is not a suggestion. It's a requirement if you want to elevate. I know some of you feel stuck. You've tried to change your habits, your environment, even your friends, but nothing's shifting. That's because you've been trying to fix the outside without transforming the inside. You can't change your life if your mind is still stuck in the past. You can't step into abundance with a mindset shaped by scarcity. The world responds to the energy you carry, and that energy starts with your thoughts. The more you think like a victim, the more life gives you reasons to feel defeated. The moment you start thinking like a victor, life begins to open doors that were invisible before. Every successful person you admire has learned one thing: to control their mind under pressure. When the world was against them, they didn't panic, they stayed focused. When people doubted them, they didn't waste energy proving anyone wrong, they kept proving themselves right. That level of discipline only comes when you train your thoughts daily. When you learn to catch negative thinking and replace it with strength. When you stop allowing temporary emotions to make permanent decisions. And I'm not saying it's easy. Controlling your mind doesn't mean you'll never feel weak, tired, or discouraged. It means you don't let those feelings decide your future. It means when fear shows up, you acknowledge it, but you don't bow to it. When doubt whispers, you talk louder. When excuses show up, you remind yourself why you started. You stay in control even when everything around you feels out of control. The truth is, most people never reach their potential not because they didn't have the talent, not because they didn't have the opportunity, but because they never learned to master their mind. They were controlled by their emotions, their fears, their insecurities. They let their thoughts dictate their limits instead of defining them. You can't afford to live that way anymore. You can't afford to keep losing the battle inside your own head. You've got too much purpose inside you to let your mind keep you average. It's time to rise above those old thought patterns. It's time to take back control. Because the moment you take control of your mind, you take control of your life. You become what you consistently think about. That's not a motivational quote. That's reality. Everything you are right now is a reflection of what you've been thinking, believing, and saying to yourself over and over again. Your life is a mirror of your mindset. If your thoughts are small, your life will stay small. If your thoughts are filled with doubt, you'll always question yourself. But when your thoughts are filled with purpose, faith, and clarity, your life begins to take shape in that direction. You can't speak defeat and expect victory. You can't think average and live extraordinary. Most people don't realize that every single action they take starts with a single thought. Every breakthrough, every success, every mistake, every failure, all of it begins in the mind. You didn't just end up where you are by chance. You thought your way there. The problem is, many people spend their days feeding their minds with negativity and then wonder why their lives never move forward. You can't fill your mind with fear and expect courage to show up when life tests you. You can't tell yourself you're not good enough and expect to walk in confidence. The mind doesn't lie. It produces exactly what you plant. You have to stop letting negative thoughts run on autopilot. Most of us have been conditioned to focus on what's wrong instead of what's possible. We replay mistakes in our heads. We rehearse rejection. We remember pain more than progress. And the more you entertain those thoughts, the more power they gain. You've got to take back control. You've got to consciously decide what you feed your mind every single day. That's how transformation starts. You can't talk yourself into success while thinking yourself into failure. You can't say, I'm going to make it, and secretly believe you won't. Your thoughts and your words have to agree. That's where true conviction comes from. It's when your mind is aligned with your mouth, when your beliefs match your behavior. That's when the world starts to respond differently to you. Because what you think determines how you act, and how you act determines what you attract. See, thoughts are like seeds. Whatever you plant in your mind will eventually grow into your reality. If you plant doubt, you'll harvest hesitation. If you plant fear, you'll reap excuses. But if you plant faith, focus, and determination, you'll start to see results that reflect that. You can't control every circumstance, but you can control what you think about those circumstances. And that one choice, how you think, can change the entire outcome of your life. People who win consistently are not lucky. They're intentional. They have learned how to direct their thoughts toward their goals. When life gets hard, they don't spend time thinking about how bad it is. They start thinking about how to rise from it. When they fail, they don't dwell on the failure. They learn, adjust, and keep thinking forward. Their minds are trained to move towards solutions, not problems. That's why their life follows their focus. Repetition is the secret to reprogramming your mind. You can't just think positive once and expect transformation. You've been feeding your mind the wrong stuff for years. It's going to take consistency to reverse that. You have to train it daily, the same way you train your body in the gym. Every morning, every night, every moment you get the chance, feed it thoughts that build you. Thoughts that remind you who you are and where you're going. Because if you don't program your mind, the world will do it for you. You've got to be careful what you allow to enter your head. The music you listen to, the conversations you engage in, the content you consume, all of it is shaping how you think. And how you think is shaping who you're becoming. You can't feed on fear and expect to move with faith. You can't surround yourself with people who complain and expect to stay motivated. Protect your mind like it's the most valuable possession you own, because it is. Once you lose control of your thoughts, you lose control of your life. I've seen people talk themselves out of their destiny simply because they couldn't control the conversation in their own head. They had the talent, the opportunity, the resources, but their mind kept saying,
You're not ready.
you're not enough. You'll never make it. And they believed it. That's how powerful your thoughts are. You don't need someone else to destroy you. Your own mind can do it if you're not careful. But here's the beauty. The same mind that can destroy you can also build you. The same thoughts that can hold you back can also set you free. It's all about what you choose to focus on. So stop wasting mental energy on things that don't serve you. Stop replaying past failures like they define you. Stop imagining the worst case scenario before it even happens. Start visualizing your success. Start seeing yourself walking in the life you want. Start thinking like the person you're becoming, not the person you used to be. Because your mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It just responds to whatever you feed it. So feed it vision. Feed it purpose. Feed it faith. Every thought you allow to live in your mind is shaping your future. That's why you've got to be intentional with what you think. Because one thought repeated long enough becomes a belief. And that belief becomes your identity. And once it becomes who you are, it dictates every decision you make. If you truly want to change your life, start by changing your thoughts. Because you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is built by what you consistently think about. Emotional control is mental power. Most people think the strongest person in the room is the one who can lift the most weight or speak the loudest. But real strength isn't about muscle or volume. It's about mastery. It's about the person who can stand in the middle of chaos and still stay calm. The one who can feel everything, but still make the right decision. That's real power. Because if you can't control your emotions will control you. Every day life will test you. People will say things that trigger you. Situations will push your patience. Things won't go your way. And in those moments, your emotions will try to take the wheel. They'll tell you to react. They'll tell you to quit. They'll tell you to get even. But if you follow those emotions blindly, you'll end up destroying what you've been building. You've got to learn to pause, breathe, and respond from your mind, not your mood. Because the moment you lose control emotionally, you lose control mentally. It's not about pretending you don't feel anything. It's about not letting those feelings dictate everything. Anger, fear, frustration, they're all real. You can't ignore them, but you can decide what you do with them. When someone disrespects you, when life hits you with pain, when everything seems unfair, you can't let those emotions make you forget who you are. You can't let a temporary feeling create a permanent decision. Too many people ruin relationships, lose opportunities, and destroy progress because they let emotions speak louder than wisdom. When you can control your emotions, you start moving with intention instead of impulse. You stop reacting to everything that happens, and you start responding to what matters. That's what separates the disciplined from the distracted. Anybody can get angry. Anybody can panic, but not everyone can stay composed when life hits hard. That's what gives you the edge. Calm under pressure. Because when you can think clearly, while everyone else is losing their mind, you're already ahead. You have to train yourself to become emotionally intelligent. That means you start recognizing your triggers. You start noticing what sets you off, the things, the people, the situations that bring out your worst. And instead of letting them control you, you learn to control how you deal with them. You step back. You take a moment. You think before you speak. That small pause between emotion and reaction is where your power lies. Because in that space, you get to choose whether you stay focused or lose everything you've been fighting for. See, emotions are like waves. They rise, they crash, and then they pass. But too many people build permanent decisions in temporary waves. You can't let your feelings today destroy what you prayed for yesterday. You can't let a moment of anger erase years of growth. You can't let sadness convince you that your story is over. That's why you have to anchor yourself mentally. You have to remind yourself of your purpose when emotions try to pull you off course. The strongest leaders, the most successful people, the ones who truly last, they all have one thing in common: control. They feel deeply, but they don't act recklessly. They experience pressure, but they don't fold. They know how to channel emotion into energy. When they're angry, they use it as fuel to work harder. When they're hurt, they use it as motivation to grow stronger. They've learned to turn emotion into motion. And that's the difference between staying stuck and moving forward. Emotional control doesn't mean you suppress what you feel. It means you understand it. You sit with it long enough to know where it's coming from, but not long enough for it to poison your mindset. You allow yourself to feel the pain, but you don't let it define you. You acknowledge the disappointment, but you don't camp in it. Because you realize emotions are just messengers, not masters. They're meant to teach you something, not trap you. You have to decide that peace is more important than proving a point. That staying focused is more valuable than getting even. That your purpose is too big to be lost in petty emotions. Every time you choose peace over anger, you build strength. Every time you stay calm when chaos hits, you gain power. Every time you forgive instead of fight, you grow. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Because the goal isn't to win arguments, it's to win life. And listen, controlling your emotions doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice, self-awareness, and maturity. It takes losing control a few times and realizing what it cost you. It takes choosing humility when your pride wants to speak. It takes walking away when your ego wants to stay and fight. But every time you control your emotions, you build your mental muscles stronger. You start realizing you don't have to attend every battle your emotions invite you to. At some point, you have to make a decision that your peace matters more than your reaction. You have to decide that you're not going to let temporary emotions destroy permanent blessings. Because emotional control is not about pretending to be unbothered. It's about being unshakable. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you're still in charge of your response. And once you can do that, once you can master that level of control, you can walk through any storm and still stand tall. When you master your emotions, you master your mind. And when you master your mind, you master your life. You have to train your mind like a muscle. Because just like your body gets stronger when you lift weights, your mind gets stronger when you face challenges. You can't expect mental strength to show up when you've never exercised it. You can't expect to have peace under pressure when you've never practiced discipline under distraction. Every day, life gives you opportunities to train your mind. Every obstacle, every delay, every disappointment is a workout for your mental toughness. And the people who grow the most are the ones who stop running from those moments and start learning through them. Your mind isn't going to get stronger by staying comfortable. Growth doesn't happen in calm waters. Growth happens when you're tested, when things don't go your way, when people let you down, when you've done everything right and still nothing moves. Those moments reveal whether your mind is trained or weak. A weak mind complains, a trained mind adjusts. A weak mind gives up, a trained mind gets better. A weak mind says, why me? But a trained mind says, try me. You have to treat mental growth like training, daily, intentional, and disciplined. You don't get fit from going to the gym once, and you don't build a strong mind from reading one quote or watching one video. It's what you do every single day that defines your strength. Every morning you wake up, you're either feeding your mind power or poisoning it with doubt. And the crazy thing is, most people don't even realize they're doing it. They let their thoughts drift, their focus scatter, and their energy drain. You can't let that happen. You have to wake up and set your mind like you set your goals on purpose. Training your mind means learning to think even when your emotions scream the opposite. It means teaching yourself to stay focused when distractions pull at you. It means pushing past excuses when your feelings tell you to quit. Just like lifting weights, the resistance is what builds your strength. Every time you push through fear, every time you silence insecurity, every time you take one more step when it would be easier to stop, you're training your mental muscle. You're building endurance for the bigger battles ahead. And don't get it twisted. Mental training isn't about being positive all the time. It's about being powerful all the time. It's about knowing how to shift your perspective when life doesn't make sense. It's about learning to find gratitude in the middle of chaos, to see purpose in the pain, and to keep moving when you don't see progress yet. The mind you build today is the foundation for the future you want tomorrow. You can't expect a strong life with a weak mindset. Think about it. Every champion, every high performer, every great leader didn't get there because life was easy. They got there because their minds were trained to handle pressure. While others broke down, they broke through. While others looked for comfort, they looked for challenge because they understood that pressure creates power. Resistance creates results. Every trial is mental weightlifting. Every test builds focus, faith, and fortitude. You've got to create mental habits that strengthen you. Start your day by controlling what goes into your head. Feed your mind with focus, not fear. Feed it with gratitude, not gossip. Feed it with purpose, not pressure. What you allow to enter your mind becomes what you expect from life. You can't scroll through negativity all day and expect to feel confident at night. You can't listen to people who doubt everything and expect to believe in yourself. Your environment is your mental gym. Make sure you're training in the right one. And when it gets tough, because it will, remember that the pain is part of the process. Growth is supposed to be uncomfortable. You don't build muscle without resistance, and you don't build character without struggle. Every setback, every delay, every door that closes is teaching you patience, resilience, and control. You can't pray for strength and expect comfort. You can't ask for greatness and avoid the grind. Training your mind means showing up when you don't feel like it, pushing through when it's inconvenient, and staying disciplined when no one's watching. You have to stop expecting the world to get easier. Instead, get stronger. Stop waiting for motivation, build discipline. Stop praying for lighter loads. Pray for a stronger back. Every single day is a chance to strengthen your mind. The moment you feel resistance, the moment you feel pressure, that's not the time to quit. That's the time to push, because that's when growth is happening. That's when you're building mental endurance that can't be shaken by circumstances or opinions. When your mind is trained, you start to move differently. You stop reacting to everything. You stop doubting yourself every time something goes wrong. You start walking with a quiet confidence, knowing you can handle whatever comes, because you've trained for it. You've put in the mental reps. You've learned how to stay steady in storms. And that's what separates the average from the unstoppable. A trained mind doesn't break, it bends. It doesn't run from hard days, it rises through them. It doesn't let emotions rule. It uses them as fuel. When your mind is strong, you stop surviving life and start mastering it. Because the truth is, no one can train your mind for you. You've got to do the work. You've got to put in the mental reps every day until discipline becomes instinct and peace becomes your default. Train your mind daily, because the stronger your mind becomes, the less the world can shake you.